Bam! T-Woo here, welcome in, much love, Big Mardu Deck Tech. I heard you like deck techs, and we're getting this thing together in paper here. We're currently in San Jose, going to the Channel Fireball game store tomorrow, which should be interesting. We've got Sean here playing in the LCQ, I'm playing in the RPTQ, and we've got a bunch of players playing in RPTQs on this Sunday. Trey Van Cleve, Scott Bonnell, Frank Vanderwall. There might be some others, and maybe those guys play something different, but the deck's going to have a big weekend. Depending on when you post this, we might be saving it for Jersey. Donald might play it there. I might play it there as well. Really, really fun deck that a lot of us worked on. Also have to shout out Elliot Bousseau and Sam V, the French guys, and Arno Baglin. We worked on this together at Utrecht. When Big Mardu won, we looked at what were problems with the winning list, what the next step were after the next wave of net deckers came in to copy it, and everyone knows exactly what you're doing. Well, their mana base was not aligned with their sideboard plan of Planeswalkers, so why not just have a great mana base for Planeswalkers? In the main, duh, play all mythics, play all rares. Do I recommend you copy this deck? Poor people, definitely not, but if you have the money and you have a tournament coming up, we'll see. We'll see how we did in the tournaments. It can't be too wrong, again, because it's all ridiculous cards with the ridiculous strategy and a good mana base. Hopefully we qualify for you guys for the Pro Tour this weekend, and maybe another one or a couple more next weekend. So you'll see. I like this deck a lot more than Marvel. Anyways, yeah, that shit was way too random. So this deck, it is also in that top 8 with the Big Mardu deck. They won all their sideboard games, not off surprise, just because this plan is quite good. Basically, you have a bunch of removal and man lands and top end, and you have oaths and planeswalkers. Planeswalkers just run away with the game. Gideon runs away with the game. Chandra, Obnick, Sorin. We're going to go through the exact cards, and we're going to do a little sideboarding guide because there's 2 of us here who are going to be playing it this weekend. And we're all playing slightly different variations. So first off, the mana. We have the 8 fast lands, and we have a bunch of basics and Smoldering Marsh, and maps so we can hit our lands untapped on 4. Renegade map is an overlooked card. It is better than Evolving Wilds most of the time, because Wilds takes your whole land drop to set up, where Renegade map just takes your mana. So Wilds is only really better if you draw 2 straight lands in the late game, or like when you want to cast something. But map lets you spend a mana and then come into play untapped on turn 4. So it's super nice. It also triggers Revolt for Fatal Push, which is an important kill spell, and triggers is a target for our own. Release the Gremlins main deck is fucked up right now. Huge edge. Very confident about that. We'll get to that. Finishing the mana base, 5 mana lands. It could be 4. Vents is the better one. But if you look at the mana, we've got like 4, 8, 11, 15, 18 white sources, 4, 7, 8, depending on you count it, 12 untapped. We've got 5, 9, 12, 13, 16 red, 4, 7, 8, 12, 15 black. Like, the mana in this deck is quite good, and we have a lot of lands, and we have a lot of late game. So 4 push, you have to kill Heart, you have to kill Snake. It can also kill Felidar and stuff like that. Ballista is insane. It's not the best 2-drop, but it's a fucked up 6-drop, 8-drop, 10-drop. Goes to the face. It's just an amazing card in a deck like this where the games go on. It's great in any deck. Oath of Chandra is quite nice. It kills the 2/3 snake and also lets you attack their planeswalkers. We have 3, 4, counting. We have a lot of ways to attack planeswalkers without even attacking. You can play Oath and Chandra, and that does 4 damage to a planeswalker. So they have Gideon. You go Oath. If you played an Oath earlier, Chandra, kill their Gideon. It's pretty stupid. It's on 5 loyalty now. Attacks the Healy and so on. 1 Thraben Inspector. To me, this card could come, it could go. You don't have time. Standard's just too fast to spend time drawing clues, I believe. But it's nice to be able to block protect your planeswalker. Sometimes that's the biggest difference. Sometimes you do want the clue to trigger Revolt. Sometimes you do want the clue for Unlicensed. So the 3 drops are so insane, it's hard to even know which ones to play. I have 3 Oaths. Some of us are playing 2, but it's just so good with the planeswalkers. That's why we win. It's our source of it's a source of card advantage and speed on the battlefield. Unlicensed, just playing 2 of these. It could be 3. We don't have that many artifacts, so it's not the most reliable thing. 2 Anguish Unmaking. This card is good in every matchup. It's fine against Mardu, takes out their Gideon or their Heart. You do take 3, but Unlicensed isn't necessarily great at killing Heart either, because a lot of times they don't attack into it. Release the Gremlin's Mane. This card is so good. It's great versus Mardu game 1. It's okay versus Green-Black. It kills Gearhulk and Ballista. It kills Dynavolt Tower. It can kill Marvel. It's not the best versus Saheeli, but it kills the Thopters. It's alive versus every deck, and we can play it on our own maps and sack them in response and get 2/2s as well. So I love that. Although that's a meta call that might shift based on how things go. I believe this is better main than board, because board, now you don't know versus Mardu what they're going to side out. But we pretty much know the main decks, and just about all the main decks, aside from blue-red zombies, have targets for this. Okay, Planeswalkers. 4 Gideon. This one's the most fucked up. You don't mind drawing multiples because you can emblem them, pretty simply. 4 Chandra. 0 Nahiri. I have 1 Nahiri on the board, which might get cut, but Chandra is just so good. It's ridiculous. It has 5 abilities. Mana, card advantage, kill something, deal damage to a Planeswalker, and a game-winning ultimate. Nahiri's ultimate does nothing here. Eluding, destroying, and discarding is not giving you raw physical card advantage, and you're lucky if you -2 and kill anything. 1 Obnixilis. Pretty. Let's show you guys these. We got the Gideon here. Can you focus, camera? Yeah, we got the Chandra here. It's for the thumbnail. We've got the Obnixilis. Pretty. And the Sorin. Sorin to me is a lot better than Obnixilis because you deal damage instead of losing life. And it gains life, and you can Chandra a plus into it. And Sorin attacks Planeswalkers, so you can turn reverse board states. So that's the main. A lot of things are tweakable, but I went with the philosophy as many rares as possible. Pretty simple. There used to be shocks and stuff like that, but and that's still playable. So we'll go over the sideboard, then do the sideboard plans. 1 Authority, good versus Saheeli. They might have some ways to remove it, but it's just nice. It lets you tap out, and you don't mind the life gain versus Thopters. 4 Transgress, good in a number of matchups. So things slow down, attack the hand. 3rd Gremlin. 3 Hanweir Garrisons. So we want a creature that is just before turn 4 versus control and can really pressure if they don't kill it. Hanweir Garrison will kill them if they can't kill it. We have some other versions with Veteran Motorist and Heart of Kiran. I believe Frank is going to play that. That's fine. I don't like Heart so much because most people are bringing and release the Gremlins against us, even if we don't show that much. I want to blank that card this weekend. And Motorist is just not a scary card. Hanweir will kill them if not answered. 2 Thalias, great versus Saheeli. 1 Nahiri. This card is perhaps cuttable, but it's another way to kill a Marvel. It's another way to exile a Amalgam. Maybe you don't necessarily mind having Nahiri versus control. And then 3 Avacins. It's an amazing card, which is great with Walking Ballista, protects Planeswalkers in the air, but it is a creature and makes us vulnerable to unlicensed disintegration, stuff like that main. And I think it's just better to play a Planeswalker whenever possible, because why else are we playing these Oaths? So, sideboarding. Versus Mardu, we're really main decked. It's possible to lose, but we just have the ridiculous high end and plenty of disruption. I mean, they can cheese us out, or they might play a Gideon before us, but they don't have a great chance of it. I don't really like Obnixilis because of the life loss, and would probably play a 3rd Release the Gremlins. And then if you see them, definitely they 100% board into the big version. Then I want some Transgress the Mind, and would cut the Thraben and maybe a couple pushes, but I don't love that because they might still have hearts and you can get fucked. Maybe I would stick on 2 gremlins in that case. Versus green-black, also similarly, I pretty much wouldn't sideboard. Again, it's possible to lose, but we're main decked versus them. I think 2 gremlins is the correct number because of the Hulk and the Ballista, but you don't want too many of them. So those are good matchups. Again, you can lose against anything, but we're very favored because it's just so hard for them to grind through us, and our top end is so ridiculous. 4C Saheeli, that's a matchup we struggled with a lot, but worked on it a ton and made it quite good. So Transgress the Mind is really good against 4C because it just picks the Planeswalker from their hand. Push, we don't need a million of these. Ruinous or Gremlins is not very good. And then I don't really like the very expensive Planeswalkers because you don't want to be tapping out that much against them. And the creature removal element of it is not super good. So I don't like the Oaths for cutting Planeswalkers, and it's slow. They've got a bunch of random value creatures that you don't really want them to be sacrificing. And then maybe you can cut an Oath of Chandra. I think this is better because it actually deals damage immediately. So you have the Transgresses, and then we're going to have the Thalias, and we're going to have the Authority, and we're going to have the Avacens. And then our board is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, this is the game plan against 4C Saheeli. We have so many ways to stop them from comboing. We have Ballista, Authority, just in play they can't, Thalia in play they can't combo. We have Instance and Push, Anguished, and Unlicensed to break it up. And we can hold up Avacyn while we're deploying Instance or holding up for removal and progress the board. We have Transgress to break up their combo if it's in their hand and see what's going on. Versus their plan B of Planeswalkers, we have Transgress also takes those, but we have a good amount of ways to burn and attack them. Versus their Thopter plan, Ballista is quite good. Avacyn really just trumps that. So the Saheeli matchup is pretty decent with this configuration. And then there's Control, which we have all this dead removal. So much dead removal. This is where we want the garrisons. Because, again, if they don't answer it, it's going to kill them. And it makes them do things earlier so that we can play stuff. I like all the Planeswalkers, and I think probably all the Planeswalkers. Avacyn is fine. Inspector is fine, but it's just not an amazing card. And then if it's Tamer, probably do want a few Gremlins. They also kill Gear Hulk. So then we have 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Cutting 2, maybe. Honestly, Nahiri is just not a good card and shouldn't be in the deck. And then probably cut like maybe 1 Unlicensed or 1 Avacyn, something like that. And then that pretty much covers it. There's the fringe decks like Marvel, where you'd want to board similarly to this and just be aggressive. Although against something like Marvel, you definitely want the Oaths as extra ways to deal with Ulamog. And against Marvel, you do want Nahiri because it can deal with both Ulamog and Marvel. And then versus Blue-Red Zombies, you don't want any Gremlins. Oath is not very good. You don't mind Inspector. Do something like this. So that's the deck. It can't be too bad. It's coming from a new direction. Net deckers will be surprised. They haven't practiced versus it, so it gives you a small edge. It fundamentally matches up very well against creature decks, of which there are many. And we have sideboard plans for the few non-creature decks. The main way that you're going to lose is just missing lands, getting stuck on mana. Flooding is a real thing that can happen, but that's it. So, I hope that, again, I don't necessarily recommend this. If you're playing in tournaments and want to qualify, sure. but you should talk to me, and you should think about being in the mastermind, because I might not be advising this deck by the time the video comes out. I'll make an update to see how we did. Really hope guys qualify. But, you know, I just know that you like deck tech, so here's one. And it's all foils and mythics. Is pretty sweet. So I'll throw up a follow-up video to let you know how it went. Much love. Do a face reveal here. This is Sean, who's playing the deck tomorrow. I'm playing Sunday.
Probably playing Sunday too.
Yeah, probably. We're gonna have to put together a second copy of the deck, but we're just gonna trample scrubs and crush noobs all the way. Filthy net deckers just don't.
That's the audience, right?
They don't know what's coming. Yeah, and especially if you net deck this again. If you're poor, I don't recommend it. You're just not going to be able to afford it. But yeah, see in the comments.
Budget deck coming soon.
Yeah, no budget decks coming.
Okay, no budget.
No, but stick to draft. All right, see you in the comments. Much love.